DOTE.
Welcome to an advanced tutorial on how to transcribe with DOTE. And in this one we're going to be focusing on how can you share a transcript with somebody else, and then how can you comment on that. And there's at least two ways that you can do that using DOTE. We don't have a full commentary system as you might find in Word. That's for a future release. But in this release we offer two possibilities, one of which is quite interesting and involved. The other one is quite straightforward. So let's see what we can do. And here we have the Lego demo. This is the free version for the free demo of the Jeffersonian transcript of the Lego demo project. And let's say we wanted to share this with somebody and get commentary on it, or we wanted to do comments on it and share it back with the original author. So this is going to be a sort of process that can be very useful for a team that's working on a transcript, or with students who are working on transcripts and they need to share with somebody who's an expert who's going to make comments and then they can improve it. So what we're going to do, I don't want to change this one because this is our core one. I want to create a new one. So let's if I go here and say save as new transcript, I can just copy this one and include or exclude certain things. So I'm just going to say Lego demo for comments. So this is one thing you can do, is just, okay, I don't want to touch my transcript. I'll just export it as, name it as something and export it as something and let somebody else share it with them, and then they can import it and they can add the comments. That's one path. Or you could just export the one that you have. In this case I don't want to do that. I'm going to create a new one. I don't want the backup history. That's my own, it's to do with my personal changes. But I want the checkpoint history, which is not very much at the moment. And I want the transcript, the sync codes, the video cues, and I want it to open immediately. So I'm going to save that now. And what we should find, well, it didn't open the waveform for some reason. That's interesting. Let me just open it up again. So this is a Lego demo for comments, and there we are. For some reason didn't open up the waveform straight away. Maybe a small little bug there, something to fix for us to fix. So now we have the waveform, we have the same one. If we look at checkpoints, you'll see there's some small change. Initial state, there's very little there in the checkpoints. We'll see about that in a moment, what we're going to do. But the crucial thing you can do is export this, for example, and then let somebody else import it to make comments. So we're going to export the transcript to a file. Well, we could export the whole project. That would include all the video materials, but you might have to do that the first time you share with somebody because they may not have the videos. And if you want them to have the videos and be able to play and use sync codes and video cues that you've set up, then they need the video. But of course it might need to be anonymized, and that's going to be another tutorial about how to anonymize your data so that you can share it if you don't want somebody to have the originals. In this case we'll assume the other person has the video project already and they just need the transcript, so we export transcript to file, and this will only include the checkpoint history, and export it. We'll give it a name here, we'll call it Lego demo for comments.dote and just save that. And that's complete. It's done. It's very quick for transcripts because they are pretty much plain text and a few other hidden files that help about formatting. So what we can do now is send that file to somebody, and let's say we are that person who's just received it and they've been requested, could you make some comments on this transcript? So I'm going to import transcript from file, and there it is. That's the one that was exported. I'm going to say, yeah, I want that one because somebody just shared it with me. If I import it, it says, okay, well, this has already got a name here in my one. Let's call it 2. This is version 2. Import it, and I'd like to open it. Yes, and there we are. I'll just make sure, yep, we've got both videos. And so what we have done is we have Lego demo for comments 2 we've received from somebody. We have it in our DOTE Lego project where all the media are always accessible. There's 2 media that are active here. So it's all ready to go. I can now view somebody else's transcript. I can jump around. I will see the video cues that they've set up. I can now comment. And so first way you can comment, you can see here we have the these double slash marks, forward slash marks. That's a term we can use for them. And that is a technical comment. We've got a technical comment. That's different from this comment down here, which is a transcriber's comment about what's going on in the event. This is just a technical comment. So you can have technical comments at metadata at the beginning, but you can also add them anywhere. For example, here, this is maybe said softly, and we can just play that. It's quite hard to, does she really say anything there? We could switch to another audio source or another camera, maybe get a better fix. And if I was listening, maybe I would hear something else here. But I'm not going to tell the person. I just say add a double slash, and immediately we change color. We're now in a technical comment, and I could say I hear something different. And if we just use the chevrons here, we could now have a lot of space where we could type, and you can type on this line forever if you wanted. It won't be included in the transcript. If we try to export this transcript, or this will be disregarded when we export to RTF or to subtitles. Unless we choose to include it for some reason, but otherwise it's discarded. Notice here this is a margin that we fixed at about 70 characters, and it's going to go way over that, but that's irrelevant because the transcript is not going to be exported when it's published. So I hear something different, check it out again. It could be you want to make a change and save the change, and of course you can do that, but then the other person might not know what those changes are because you've changed them and they don't know. So we can use checkpoints to do that. But let's just look down and see, maybe we could make a suggestion. For example, here, it could be add more stress. We hear a bit more stress in this line here. Or it could be here, I disagree with the translation. And then maybe an alternative here. So we can add these comments anywhere, but you only have everything on the line just has to carry on. You can't add lots of lines and have everything sort of give you space for that. In a future release, we'll probably add a nice commentary function where you can add comment boxes and tag things and do things like that, but that's going to be something much extra and leading into a new piece of software we're developing. Okay, so that's one thing. If I just go back so we can see everything here, and we have checkpoints. And if you have installed Git, then you can use the full functionality of checkpoints, and if you have DOTE Pro, then you can also use the compare function. So if I open checkpoints, you'll see changes since last checkpoint. It's actually got our changes here. But if you don't have DOTE Pro, you won't see that. So this is what you'll see, which actually has those things there as a change. And we can add a message about those changes. Those are the only things we've changed. If we look at display changes, it actually shows us what we deleted and what we added. In fact, this was deleted. There was nothing changed there, but we added this part, which is in a slightly darker green. If there are deletions, they'll be in a slightly darker reddish pink. We can see those are the three changes that we made. So that means you can actually add a message here. Let's say Paul. I'll put my name just so it references who actually made these changes, because there could be a team of people making changes. And I'll say I added 3 comments. 3 comments there. And you can add a long message here, some message that gives a bit more specificity. It should be at a low level of granularity, meaning don't make tons of changes and then say I edited the whole thing, because that's not going to be so helpful. And if I create the checkpoint here, you see we get a few seconds ago Paul added this, and there is the changes. And we could go back now and we could make a new one. For example, it could actually make an edit. So here it could be totalt konkurrensmenneske. I am a seriously competitive. Maybe you think person. I'm a seriously competitive person. Maybe you think that would be a best translation here. Menneske being person in Danish. So maybe you want to add that. That would be a better. And that's a change, which of course if we now save that, we can save that. We can also go to checkpoints and we'll see a change. Yep, now we see it says, oh, you added person and a. So we can make a new checkpoint. I corrected the translation on line 17. You can see the 17. Of course, if you don't have DOTE Pro, you will see this. So you'll have to remember what it is that you see. This is the A, seriously competitive person. So we only allow in DOTE Pro that you can actually see this rather clever way of showing changes that you've made, and it tracks all changes inside the transcript, but not sync codes or video cues. So I corrected, and maybe I should put my name here too, Paul, and then I can add that checkpoint. And now we get a new checkpoint, and I can go back and I can look at earlier ones. For example, if I go to this one here, it'll show me the changes I made about adding 3 comments. And I can leave checkpoint mode, and it will go back to, these are the changes that have been made the last time, after this changes were made, and that's only this line on line 17 that was changed. So you can now go through and just make all sorts of changes to the transcript. Maybe we could go down and see, okay, maybe the overlaps here, maybe you'd like it's the something, maybe you'd just like a bit more space, for example, so you want to add a bit more space here to the overlaps for some reason, to space them out. Could be because you've added something here. Let's say we added this, which means if I just go back and just say it was I added this, then now it lines up correctly, and that might be because DOTE has done the realignment for you. That's now a change. If we go to checkpoints, you'll see it says a new change, and if we go down, you'll see on the mini map here on the scroll bar, go down, it tells you exactly what has changed. So some things were added, some space was deleted, and something was added here. Of course, if you're in DOTE free, then you'll see this, which is the actual final result, but this gives you a much more interesting view of all the changes that have been made. And I can just go back and say, okay, that's what we did, and it could be here you want to add a message saying, I realigned the overlaps here. So go to checkpoints, and if we turn on display changes, yep, and we'll see down here it shows you I realigned the overlaps, and we can just scroll around to see that a bit better there. And then Paul could add overlap realignment on lines, and we can see here it's 55 to 58. 55 to 58, and add that checkpoint, and now we have 3. Okay, so we've got a record of a whole set of changes that we've made at a low level of granularity, which means that we can see small little changes as we've worked through and corrected things that have been done. In fact, this is involving another one earlier as well. So this is the current transcript with the changes that have been made and the technical comments that have been added. But if you go to checkpoints, you'll be able to see a history of those changes if you have manually done that yourself. Auto backups may contain some sort of history here, as you can see, because if changes were made within the time period of the last auto backup, then there'll be a new record of what changes were made. But this is not with any names. This is just showing you, okay, we've got something saved here over a period of time, usually roughly every few minutes. Okay, so that's what we can do. Once you've made your changes, what you can do then is go and export the transcript. So we can export the transcript to a file. We'll include the checkpoint history. Export. Now we'll call it number 3, because this is my, with my, let's say with PM on there, so say that's my comments on that. So we'll save that. That's done, and now we send that. We can send it by email or on some sort of sharing program. Then we can open that, and we need to go to Open Transcript from File, and there's the one with my comments. The original author can now open that one. It says, okay, what do you want to call it? Let's call it with PM with those changes. Import it, and would you like to view it? Yes. And we should see all those changes, and if we go to checkpoints now, you'll see, oh, okay, so Paul made some changes here. So I could take a look at that. Oh, I corrected the translation on line 17. And if you click that, you're going to peek at that checkpoint. And then peeking, it will show you, okay, change that line there, line 17. It could be added 3 comments. What comments did he add? And click that one, and you'll peek. And you'll see in here, it shows you where the changes are. They could be anywhere inside the transcript. And say, oh, right, he added that one, and he added that one, and that one. And then you could go back to your transcript and make those changes, or do them on this particular one, and then this becomes your new original transcript, because it's got a bunch of changes that have been made. So you can copy these and do them into your original, or you can start using this as the original. So you can see you've got to figure out a strategy of how do you share and how do you fold in changes that others have recommended. You get a set of comments back from 3 or 4 people about your transcript, and then you go to your original and fold those in, and that will mean switching backwards and forwards between the original. And if we just leave this peeking mode here and go out of checkpoint mode, then all you have to do is go to open project or open transcript, and there we'll see that these are the ones we've had. So Lego demo for comments, there was the original, there was the one I made, there was the ones I sent to somebody, and there's the comments I got back. So I could go back to my original one and then make those changes and keep switching between these two. You can't have 2 of them open at the same time, because DOTE doesn't allow 2 transcripts to be open for a variety of reasons. You'll have to keep jumping between them, so it might be best to just work on the one that you got back, and that becomes your new original one. Okay, so that gives you some idea of working on a transcript you've received, and changing and adding comments. And if you have DOTE Pro, you have a much more powerful use of checkpoints with the display changes, but that's only in the DOTE Pro version. But if you don't have that, you won't be able to tick that box. You'll still be able to see the version they sent, and if there's any comments there, then you'll be able to read those. But you will be able to click and jump, like I can jump here to the line 17, and you can look at line 17 and see, okay, there's a change, but you won't know exactly what has changed unless you go back to the previous one to see what that change is. Okay, let's stop there on this advanced tutorial about using DOTE to add technical comments and checkpoints on a shared transcript.